the city. Thanks, really, for just coming back. Later in the show, we've got some great music with the delays. But first up is the great Ken Livingstone. How the devil are you, Ken?
Fine. It's a bit like a bereavement, but you get over it quicker than a real bereavement and get back writing a book about the last 8 years and back on the after-dinner circuit now that Boris can't do it.
There's a gap in the market. But, I mean, just the actual practicalities of getting up every morning and going to City Hall must be strange.
Well, it's really interesting because at City Hall I was managed, so the night, about 6 o'clock in the evening, I'd be given a pack of what I was doing the next day, and that was the first I knew about most of it. Now I'm sort of getting up, answering my own phone, planning what I do. And in a way, it's quite nice, because I'm running my own life. Now, I haven't run my own life for the last 8 years.
No. You mentioned the book. We're very hopeful in my house that you won't be including your procreative, nocturnal carryings-on.
No, it's going to be a serious book.
Not mentioning anyone in particular.
No, serious book, serious book.
Well, Cherie, now we brought her name into the conversation, I didn't mean to, apparently got $2 million advance for her book. So what sort of reason?
I mean, you might reduce that by, you know, several zeros before you get down to what to give me. I'm going to be writing a book about what it's like being mayor of a city, rather than, you know, living with the Prime Minister. I mean, me and Tony, didn't live together.
God forbid. God forbid.
I could have got $2 million for that. Yeah.
So nothing happened at Balmoral then when you stayed there?
No. I never got an invite to Balmoral. I mean, sure. It was really interesting, actually, because I noticed Prince Charles wrote and congratulated Boris on winning. He never wrote to me. I mean, I feel so slighted, you know.
It's nice you've let that go.
What?
No chip there.
No.
Well, you're an outspoken person, Ken, and much adored for that, mostly. But I've got some quotes here which I'd like to see
None of them are true.
See if you can remember any of this. I always like sharing the stage with Jack Straw. He makes me look even smarter.
I actually don't remember it, but it does sound quite true, doesn't it?
Anybody who enjoys being in the House of Commons probably needs psychiatric help.
I did say that. I think there's a real problem that most politicians, aren't very much out the ordinary, but a lot of very disturbed people are attracted to power. I mean, Hitler, Stalin, all that, and they kill millions and millions of people. So perhaps you'd have a psychiatric test before you're allowed to stand. Yeah, that would be done for Boris, wouldn't it? Yeah. Oh, sorry, Boris, I didn't mean it. Oh, there we are. Oh, come on.
There wouldn't be many of them in there, I'm sure, if they did have that test. And then lastly, you said you'd have a bloody great drink if you won and a bloody great drink if you lost.
And that was absolutely true. Well, in actual fact, because I woke up on Friday morning, I heard the Labour vote was down to 24%. I thought, I'm not going to survive that. And then you just waited. And that was about 7 o'clock in the morning. And it was midnight before we got the result. And we started drinking about 4 o'clock, and everyone assembled. And it was like the wake before the death, you know? The first ever wake before the actual bereavement, you know? And I thought...
You could feel people dancing on your
That's
coffin.
why I did a very short speech, you know? You couldn't have done the 10 minutes. No way.
Now, Ken, I can't think of any living politician who's lived through such interesting times. It may be the Chinese curse, isn't it?
Yeah.
You live in interesting times. But, surely, you know, being the head of the GLC under the Thatcher years...
Oh, that was amazing, because, I was 35 when I was elected, and except in a revolutionary time, like, you know, Paris 200 years ago, or Russia under Lenin, normally you have to be at least 40 or 50 to get anywhere. And I was 35 and most of my team were in their 20s, and we had a whale of a time. We were deeply loathed and unpopular in the Daily Mail, but who gives a sod about that?
And speaking of newspapers, you haven't had a great time here in London with our auspicious organisation, but I believe you used to do a restaurant review for the Evening Standard.
There was a period when Max Hastings was the editor, when it was a very good paper and you couldn't complain. And then, it reverted back, you know, to being sort of sub-Daily Mail. And it's negative. And, what's really interesting, I think people in the city at the moment think this is a great time to be in London. There's a lot, of course there are problems, but on balance, it's a brilliant city. We've overtaken New York. But if you read the Evening Standard, you'd leave, you know. You wouldn't... come out your door in the morning.
But I'm led to believe this, the paper that vilified you for so long has actually asked you if you'd like to take up your column with them again.
And I've said no. I mean, given what they've done over the last year, I mean, I sod that. I'm not going to take their money. I mean, I think they were just saying, come back and do your restaurant column, so they could say, oh, he's come back, he's taken our money, even though we were so vile to them. But no, I think I'd rather starve to death and have another meal for this evening stand.
What, for you, was the most difficult time, do you think, in your period as Mayor of London?
Obviously, the bombings were this terrible point. But what was remarkable was how rapidly the city got back together. I remember there was some BBC programme about a terrorist attack on London about a year before, and they showed Londoners running, screaming and panicking, and that just didn't happen. People were so disciplined and controlled. It made me really proud, you know.
Is this a club you ever came to in the past?
I can't remember where I've been. And if I had been here, I wouldn't remember.
I came here as a 6-year-old, and people, the kindly young men with alcohol on their breath, would give you 10 bob notes to go to the pictures, but that's another story. Well, I can't let you go, Ken, before giving you a little test about London knowledge.
I've been at meetings for 30 years. I don't know anything.
Of course you do. Oh, the first one, I'd like to say, actually, we offered Ken a car to bring him here, and of course he said no. He came on the bus. So
Tube.
On the tube, did you?
It took me 30 minutes.
Well, here's this. Hopefully this won't be too difficult for you then. How much does a 7-day Zone 1 and 2 London travel card cost?
I've had an annual pass for years. I suspect it's about 27 quid.
Oh, not far off, 24.
Oh, right.
Where in London would I be able to get a bagel 24 hours a day?
Brick Lane.
Correct.
Thank you very much.
He's cheating now. He's at the back of the class.
Yes,
At the back of the class. How much would it cost a family of 4 to visit London Zoo in the summer holidays?
I suspect about 45 quid.
Ooh, £49, 10 pence. Here you go, now here's one. How much longer would it be while I can still enjoy my tipple of choice, a can of cider on the tube?
Till the first day in June when the ban comes in.
Correct.
And I understand from the internet that people are planning a sort of drink-a-thon on the Circle Line on the last day. So the Circle Line will be a sea of booze. If I wanted to do quizzes, I'd have gone on Radio 4.
The green room, of course, here for new viewers is a Korean restaurant next door, and there's a karaoke machine downstairs, which unfortunately wasn't working, Ken. We were rather hoping you'd give us a number, but if you could, what number would it be?
My staff's favourite Christmas lunch place was to go to a restaurant in Chinatown where they had karaoke. And there'd be this point when we're all completely rat-arsed. I would do Steppenwolf's Born to be Wild.
Wow.
So, and can you imagine? Born to be wild. I mean, and they would all wet themselves, you know. But once a year, and I'm not doing it on your programme.
Well, Ken, it's been great having you. One more thing, actually. I mean, do you think, have you even thought about, in 4 years' time, going for it again?
It's quite interesting, because Boris Johnson has written to the government saying he wants them to introduce a law that says no one could ever be mayor 3 times. Now, that does suggest to me he's worried about me, so perhaps I might just sit there and watch him for a bit.
Well, good luck. I know you're a very keen gardener. Good luck with the memoirs. I very much look forward to reading them, ladies and gentlemen. Ken Livingstone.